it was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay.
When
you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see it before. Look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through, and when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me.
What was the reason that you went to Africa?
Well, there are a few reasons, but if you a black dude trying to hide, Africa is a good place. I had a good time. And another thing I loved about Africa was the people. You know, they were so warm, and like I was talking to them about my problems, and they listen like they don't know nothing about Chappelle Show. So they just listening. I'm like, man, I had this show, and I felt like people was trying to control me.
Okay, did you start having plastic surgery because of those teen years, because of not liking the way you look?
No, not really.
Not really?
No, it's only 2 things. Read it, get my book. It's no big deal.
Okay. You don't want to tell me what it is? You had your nose done, obviously.
Yeah, but so did a lot of people that I know.
Yeah.
Can we just do it again without the negative saying that you don't like the tour?
I don't like it though.
I know, but
I go through
but what
hell.
Is it setting up though? I don't know.
I go through hell touring. Okay, then I'll make it positive then.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, you know the truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And action, Michael.
I love to tour. You guys must.
Just say.
Why are you all starting?
I'm telling you, kids, don't come to Hollywood. I'm serious. Your camera's there.
Jim, what about for you? I mean, you had it.
Grab your teacups because today is going to shake you to your core. From Dave Chappelle to Jim Carrey, Hollywood insiders are finally peeling back the curtain on why Oprah was so terrified of Michael Jackson and the truths he held that could have toppled empires. This isn't just another celebrity drama. It's about power, secrets, and survival in the entertainment world. So stay tuned until the very end, because the revelations here are gonna leave you questioning everything.
I was publicly humiliated for 25 years, every week, exploited by the tabloids. Every time any comedian wanted to make fun or make a joke about it.
What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You know, we're going like this. And then finally it's like, and he leaves. And then like the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain? Made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy.
When you have such enormous success at such an early age, you get burnt out.
Mariah came out into the audience and said that it was a day that she just wanted to hang out and look at the rainbows, and then all of a sudden she started stripping in the middle of TRL.
Even host Carson Daly appeared dumbfounded by Mariah's actions.
Is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
I'm a black American. I'm proud to be a black American. I am proud of my race. I am proud of who I am. That's the most ridiculous, horrifying story I've ever heard.
What is a 36-year-old man doing sleeping with a 12-year-old boy, or a series of them?
Right. Okay, when you say boys, it's not just boys, and I've never invited just boys to come in my room. Come on, that's ridiculous. And that's a ridiculous question.
I'm telling you, kids, don't come to Hollywood. I'm serious. Your camera's there.
Jim, what about for you? I mean, you had it, on such a grand scale.
The biggest stars all share a chilling secret. There was this one person they all quietly feared, not because of fame or skill, but because of what he saw behind closed doors. Michael Jackson didn't just perform for the world. He collected secrets in rooms where cameras weren't meant to be. While many in Hollywood learned to play along, Michael kept the receipts. Neverland became more than a home. It was a safe place where he stored leverage. That kind of knowledge that makes people nervous. And 2 comedians who walked away from the machine have finally explained why the industry's most powerful figures flinched at the mere idea that Michael might speak. To understand why Michael unsettled the elite like he did, look at what happened to people who refused to play the game. Dave Chappelle, He became a warning sign, the first big name to call out how the system actually works. The public story said Dave cracked under pressure, walked away from a huge contract, and then disappeared to Africa. But the real story was different. Dave wasn't fleeing fame, he was refusing the same control that eventually destroyed Michael. He explained that there's an unwritten rule in the business that you don't just expose the machine in public. When someone tries, the industry moves fast to label them unstable, redirect the conversation, and erase the threat. Dave's clashes with high-profile media figures, he says, mirrored what Michael faced for decades. You watch how powerful hosts and institutions handle truth-tellers, and it becomes very clear why Michael's resistance was treated like an existential problem. Not just for one star, but for an entire system built to stay silent.
Show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy.
When you have such enormous success at such an early age, you get burnt out.
Mariah came out into the audience and said that it was a day that she just wanted to hang out and look at the rainbows, and then all of a sudden she started stripping in the middle of TRL.
Even host Carson Daly appeared dumbfounded by Mariah's actions.
But if, Mariah Carey has a bad day, then it's remembered.
Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah.
Dave said he often felt put under pressure on purpose, because when someone makes big money, others want to control them. He pointed out to what he called a common media move: interrupt, redirect, and label someone unstable. He said that's exactly how powerful hosts and outlets handle anyone who dares to speak up. According to Dave, when he raised real concerns about industry control, a major figure immediately framed him as mentally unstable, which is the same pattern he says Michael Jackson faced for decades. The story that the public heard was that Dave fled to Africa out of paranoia. The real story, Dave argued, is that he needed space to think. That escape mirrors the same one of Michael's retreat to Neverland, where both men created sanctuaries away from Hollywood and were then painted as eccentric or out of touch.
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay.
When
you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I felt like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
What looks like madness, Dave suggested, could actually be survival, a sane response inside a system built to grind people down. He used Martin Lawrence as a sharp example. The public was told Martin had a breakdown, but Dave asked the tougher question: what if Martin's breakdown was actually a reaction to pressure and betrayal? The point that Dave kept driving home was simple and chilling. Hollywood teaches powerful people to accept betrayal as business, and anyone who resists that gets branded as a problem.
What was the reason that you went to Africa?
Well, there are a few reasons, but if you're a black dude trying to hide, Africa is a good place. I had a good time. And another thing I loved about Africa was the people. They were so warm, and like I was talking to them about my problems, and they listened like they don't know nothing about Chappelle Show. So they just listened, and I'd be like, man, I had this show, and felt like people was trying to control me. I was freaked out. I don't know, I just had to get out of there. I walked away. It says $50 million, it's all gone. I'm scared. And they was, hey, they did all this to you, brother? I said, that's how I be doing in America. They said, that's messed up, man. They said, but here in Africa, we have a philosophy that helps us get through things like this. You always got to remember one thing when you go through these problems, Dave. And I said, what's that, brother? And he said, I ate a dog today. Just grow up, get over yourself.
Dave argued that the worst label you can give someone in Hollywood is crazy. It's the industry's favorite tool, because once they slap that label on someone, you don't have to take their word seriously anymore. Instead of looking at what drove them to break down, you can just write them off as unstable. He pointed to Martin Lawrence as that perfect example. Everyone remembers the headlines about Martin waving a G in the street and shouting that people were trying to end him. Instantly, that story became about his so-called breakdown, not about whether his fears might have had any truth to them. But Dave asked a much bigger question. What if Martin wasn't crazy at all? What if his paranoia was actually awareness of just how dark and dangerous the Hollywood machine can get? And that, Dave said, was the exact pattern Michael Jackson lived with every single day. Every time Michael spoke about corruption in the industry, every time he refused to play along, the narrative that got spun was that he was eccentric, unstable, or even dangerous to himself. It was easier for the public to believe the wacko jacko storyline than to admit that Hollywood's biggest stars might live in constant fear of being destroyed by a system they couldn't control.
I'm not nervous at all, actually.
You really aren't?
No, I never get nervous.
You don't?
No.
No, not even for your first interview and it's live around the world? I thought you'd be a little nervous.
Dave concluded that Michael wasn't paranoid, he was prophetic. He saw the machine for what it truly was, and he used his music, his interviews, and even his strange lifestyle choices as a way to warn the world. The heartbreaking truth is that by the time people started to listen, it was too late. The system had already silenced him forever. Dave at least survived to keep telling his side of the story, and his experiences shed light on why people like Oprah and Diddy couldn't sleep easy at night, knowing that Michael had seen too much. While Dave was learning these lessons under fire, other industry veterans were observing the same patterns. Mel Gibson, for example, spoke about Hollywood's so-called social contract, the unspoken agreement that keeps the guilty safe while silencing the innocent. Outsiders think Hollywood runs on talent, connections, or luck, but those inside know the truth is far more sinister. This social contract means that you're expected to accept betrayal as part of the business. People you help might stab you in the back later, and you're not supposed to get angry about it. It's almost like a rule. If you hold grudges or try to fight back, the system eats you alive. Industry veterans even describe it as feeling a knife slip between your shoulder blades, and the only way to survive it is to pull it out and pretend it didn't hurt. They warn that if you hold on to that resentment, it will consume you from the inside out.
I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it and I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
And this is where Michael was different. While other celebrities learned to swallow betrayal and accept silence as the price of survival, Michael documented everything. He refused to accept the deal that so many others went along with. While others built resilience by conforming, Michael clung to his principles. The industry couldn't break him mentally, so they had no choice but to destroy him publicly. That's why he became the ultimate wild card. He wasn't just another star, he was someone with global influence and the courage to expose the system. This so-called social contract also explains why so many stars stayed quiet about mistreatment for decades. It wasn't just fear, it was programming. Celebrities were taught that betrayal equals business, predators are power players, and speaking out equals ending one's own career. And Dave Chappelle's own run-in with the infamous dress conspiracy was a textbook example of how that programming works.
When I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. They come in, it's the writer comes in, I think he's the writer, he's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail, so he disguises you as a prostitute. And he put this dress on. Now, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with it. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then, like, the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain in here? So they leave. Now the producers come on, David would be so great. I mean, and then I started thinking about it. Why are they putting us in these dresses?
I'm going to do the news, and we got some great guests coming in. Hey, what are you guys laughing at so much? I think I paid them too much, jerks. All right, let's plug a new video of Baba Boobie's Bonanza. Robin, you show the tape. What do you think of it?
Well, Howard,
Hey, Robin, what's the matter with you? You have a cold?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Really? That's probably a chest cold. Hey, Robin, you take a temperature?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just stick the thermometer.
Michael Jackson spent decades watching how the industry worked, and he saw firsthand how fast they could flip the narrative to destroy someone's reputation. Unlike Dave Chappelle, who could step away and find refuge in Africa, Michael didn't have that luxury. Every move he made was under the public microscope. The industry launched its usual campaign against him, discredited his character, while celebrating his talent. His eccentricities were twisted into signs of instability, and his love for privacy was painted as guilt.
Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bull. These people are not crazy, they're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
But Michael wasn't just another celebrity playing their game. He was documenting everything, playing chess while the rest of Hollywood played checkers. His refusal to accept the social contract of silence made him dangerous to people like Oprah and Diddy. In a system built on corruption and guaranteed silence, Michael Jackson became the ultimate wild card. He had global influence and nothing left to lose. And that's where Oprah comes in. Oprah Winfrey built her empire on one core skill: narrative control. She decided who the public should sympathize with, who deserved redemption, and who should be destroyed. But Michael was the one star she could never fully control. Her treatment of him showed a disturbing pattern that fans have pointed out for years.
What is a 36-year-old man doing sleeping with a 12-year-old boy, or a series of them?
Right. Okay, when you say boys, it's not just boys, and I've never invited just boys to come in my room. Come on, that's ridiculous. And that's a ridiculous question. But since people want to hear it, the answer, I'll be happy to answer it. I have never invited anyone into my bed, ever. Children love me, I love them. They follow me, they want to be with me. I could never harm a child or anyone. It's not in my heart, it's not who I am, and it's not what I'm not even interested in that. Because there wasn't one piece of information that says I did that. And anyway, they turned my room upside down, went through all my books, all my videotapes, all my private things, and they found nothing that could say Michael Jackson did this. Nothing.
Oprah discussed her decision to interview Michael Jackson's accusers for After Neverland when she appeared on The Daily Show. She said, if they ever found out what they were doing, he and I would go to jail. I haven't had that much hateration since the puppy episode with Ellen DeGeneres, when she came out as gay. But when I saw that documentary, I realized people would be triggered, and a lot wouldn't understand the pattern. That was important enough for me to take the hateration for. The timing of that special was no accident. Oprah gave Michael's accusers her platform at a time when he was no longer alive to defend himself. But when Harvey Weinstein was still one of Hollywood's most powerful producers, she stayed quiet. That's not balanced journalism, that's strategic character destruction, carefully timed, so she faced little pushback from the powerful system that she was tied to.
I don't want to watch that Michael Jackson thing. He's not allowed to defend himself, so it's
Correct.
weird. It's also stories. People tell the truth in stories sometimes, and sometimes they don't, and you don't know. It was always weird. No one knew why, with all the rumors that everybody had ever heard about Michael Jackson, that anybody would let their kids go and hang out with him. Like,
dude, when you watch the documentary, you're like, these parents are fucking morons.
I don't get it, man.
Oprah later recalled being on vacation when news broke about Michael. She said, Gail called me and said something's happened to Michael. I don't think it's good. It scared me because it reminded me of when Diana passed away. But no, I didn't attend his funeral. I wasn't his friend. I interviewed him, felt compassion, but those feelings changed.
You can imagine now my understanding of the facts surrounding the MJ case, that he went to war with Sony, one of these major companies, and he was winning that war. And then suddenly the world was told that Michael Jackson is a or somebody is an anti-Semite. Michael Jackson, I think, was called all of those things. Wacko Jacko, they gave him a name.
How do you feel when they call you
Wacko Jacko? It's not nice. I'm not a wacko.
The exact same tactics that they tried to use on me. Someone pressed a button, and there was a full court press effort to cancel Candace Owens by trying to convince the people that she just went crazy and anti-Semitic. Thank goodness I'm not from Hollywood. They would have institutionalized me and said that it was for my good. There are a ton of people in Hollywood who, when they have tried to speak out about things that are happening to them, have received this same treatment. I believe this is what happened to Britney Spears.
That sudden pullback spoke volumes. She had interviewed him multiple times, visited Neverland, and publicly shown support in the past. Yet the moment he was gone and unable to defend himself, she pulled away and insisted they weren't really close. To many, that wasn't just withdrawing, it was fear. Fear being tied to someone who had seen too much, someone whose truth could have unraveled everything. When Michael passed away, Oprah wasted no time in distancing herself. Even though she had interviewed him multiple times, visited Neverland, and publicly praised him in the past, she suddenly claimed they weren't really friends. That quick switch said a lot. It showed just how afraid she was of being tied to someone she couldn't control or neutralize.
Nothing happened, I mean, nothing really. I mean, we played video games, we played it as an amusement park. Well, the thing is with that whole thing is that, they go, oh, you slept in the same bedroom as him. It's like, I don't think you understand. Michael Jackson's bedroom is 2 stories. And it has like 3 bathrooms and this and that. So when I slept in his bedroom, yeah, but you have to understand the whole scenario.
Talked about young boy sleeping in his bedroom. Well, you and your brother Kieran had done that.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like weird. It wasn't anything we thought about. We go to the movies and we do this, we do that, and it's like, okay, just you plop down, you go to sleep, you wake up. It's just kind of just what happens,
Did your parents encourage it?
They weren't against it. It wasn't like they encouraged it or like pushing me upon it. It was just kind of like I wanted to hang out with them, and they were fine with it.
So what do you make of what he's going through now?
Like I said, it's unfortunate, and it's a circus right now. I don't know. It's a little crazy, and I kind of have taken a step back from the whole thing because it is a bit of a circus, and. If the same thing was happening to me.
Michael Jackson told me settling that case, the biggest mistake he'd ever made.
Remember that one boy?
Now listen to this. I have to tell you this. After I left the party, I get back to the Sheraton Hotel at Universal. There's 4 FBI agents waiting for me. Mom's there and she's like, tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean tell them what happened? I said, are y'all crazy? I tell you that Michael did something bad so that sue him for money? I looked over at my mom and I was like, are you serious, Mom? I was like, what is going on here? Why are you letting this happen? She goes, oh, well, I think something happened, I think something. I'm like, really? That man did nothing but be hospitable, kind, loving, giving. I looked at my mom, I go, are you really trying to go at Michael and use me for a money grab? And I looked at him right now, I said, nothing happened. Michael was flirting with girls right in front of me. I saw him looking at girls' booty. I said, I saw you looking at her booty. He was like, mm-hmm.
Are you a virgin?
How could you answer that question?
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman.
Her other connections prove the same pattern. Back in 2007, Oprah spent $40 million to open a girls' school in South Africa. The government pushed back, saying it was too extravagant for a poor country. And honestly, they weren't wrong. The place had salons, gyms, and luxury facilities. But soon, scandal hit. A dorm manager named Virginia was accused of misconduct against at least 6 students aging between 13 to 15. These girls were personally handpicked by Oprah, and yet they ended up in danger right under her watch.
In 2007, Oprah Winfrey opened up a boarding school in South Africa. The academy had salons and gyms in it. Allegations have surfaced that this school was a front for child. These girls would be allegedly groomed to be ready for sale. Oprah handpicked the young girls who attended her school based on physical appearance, but it wasn't long until word got out about what really the school was about. Turns out these young girls were being touched or broken in by one of the employees there to allegedly get them ready for clients. Authorities found out about it, and the employee was charged with 13 counts of getting inappropriate with kids. Turns out at least 6 girls aged 13 to 15 were allegedly systematically and ritualistically targeted. Oprah went on record saying she was going to look at the situation, but after her investigation, the employee was cleared of any wrongdoing, and some allege Oprah had a hand in trying to cover it up. But these incidents continue to rock the school, including a newborn baby being found unalived at the school, which some say was for.
We arrested a former employee who was working at Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. She was arrested yesterday for several charges, including assault, indecent as well as soliciting girls under the age to commit indecent assault.
And that wasn't the only scandal. Less than 2 years later, another incident broke out. Students were harming each other and intimidating others into silence. One letter to a parent flat out stated that their child was guilty of intimate behavior, bullying, and lying to investigators. Oprah flew in to fix things, but the problems kept happening. Now compare that to how she handled Michael. Just one allegation with no solid proof, and she jumped straight into hosting documentaries about him. Yet scandals in her own school? No real consequences for her.
I was publicly humiliated for 25 years, every week exploited by the tabloids. Every time any comedian wanted to make fun or make a joke about it, they could make a joke about it. And I accepted it because I thought I deserved it. I accepted it, I was shamed by it, and I received it because I thought, well, they're right.
Right,
They're
and they
right.
were wrong.
And they were
And
wrong.
they
Now
were
I know they were so
wrong.
Her long friendship with Harvey Weinstein only fueled the suspicions. Oprah and Harvey had been close for decades. People defended her, saying she had no idea what he was up to. But come on, his reputation was an open secret since the 90s. When his crimes finally came out, rumors swirled that Oprah even called to offer her support. Her camp denied that, but the photos of her cozy with Harvey at events said plenty. Some even accused her of encouraging actresses to get close to him. So while she was busy painting Michael as dangerous, she stood by Weinstein for years.
Culture broken by brutally powerful men. For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up.
Everybody has a story, and so I think this is a watershed moment. And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment. I think this is a moment where no matter what business you work in.
Rose McGowan eventually called her out. She tweeted that she wished Oprah were real, but she wasn't, accusing her of protecting Harvey for years, and even calling him a wonderful father. And honestly, Rose wasn't wrong. Oprah only separated herself from Weinstein once his downfall was inevitable.
And then they brought that witch Rose McGowan, fresh off a breakup with Marilyn Manson, feeling low, gave her a cause. You like the you did with Harvey Weinstein. Don't front.
While Oprah was busy perfecting her PR machine, Jim Carrey was waking up to the same ugly truths Michael Jackson had been shouting about his whole life. Jim said he was sickened by what he saw in Hollywood. Speaking about the Will Smith Oscar fiasco, he admitted he was disgusted at the standing ovation Will got after slapping Chris Rock. To him, it showed Hollywood was spineless en masse, no longer the cool club. Jim even said that if he were Chris Rock, he would have sued for $200 million the next morning, because that slap video would live online forever.
I'm telling you, kids, don't come to Hollywood. I'm serious.
Your camera's there.
Jim, what about for you? I mean, you had it, on such a grand scale. All of a sudden, you were the biggest movie star in the world, and your paychecks and all of it were public. And I imagine getting out of a car, it was being swarmed with
And
people.
90% myth as well. So that's a tough thing to deal with.
What does that feel like?
People
What does it
create your life.
Yeah?
They take elements that are true and they put it in an article so the article looks legit, and yet there's so much of the article that isn't true. So that's something to kind of teach you that, hey, you know what? In order to go forward, I have to let go of what this creation is. And I ultimately found that even the me I created wasn't real, so that left me in an odd, precarious situation.
That frustration echoed Michael's own, watching celebrities throw away their morals just to protect the system. And Jim didn't stop there. On live TV, he once pointed out industry hidden symbols, joking that everybody in the business knew exactly what they meant, but were pretending otherwise. He said he was blowing the lid off the lies and secrets, even calling it the Illuminati's mocking tongue. What Jim was saying basically confirmed what Michael had warned all along. The corruption wasn't some hidden secret. It was out in the open. Everyone knew, everyone played along, and everyone excused it as just business.
So the thing that is most discussed about you, I think, is the fact that the color of your skin is obviously different than it was when you were younger.
Yeah.
And so I think it has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done or are doing. Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Okay, number one, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear, always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons to...
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help.
And then came Phil, the former employee who worked for Diddy, with testimony that gave chilling details that matched everything Michael had warned about. At first, he thought he was just working for a powerful businessman, but what he ended up witnessing was a lifestyle drenched in addiction, secrecy, and cover-ups. Phil admitted that one of his main jobs was to always carry Diddy's stash of assorted Ds, basically what they called a Diddy pack. He said he was forced to keep it on him at all times, no matter where they traveled. But the parties were on another level. Phil explained that Diddy called them Wild King Nights. These weren't just regular parties. They were intimate gatherings set up in hotels or at Diddy's own home. And guess who had to prepare the rooms? Phil. He said he was instructed to stock the place with baby oil, candles, incense, alcohol, D's, and endless toiletries. The setup alone painted a very disturbing picture. Even though Phil wasn't in the room for the acts themselves, he knew exactly what was going on. Why? Because one of the other jobs was to delete the incriminating videos from Diddy's iPhones and iPads. Think about that for a second. Entire recordings of these infamous nights, wiped clean before they could ever see the light of day. At first, Phil thought he was working for a genius entrepreneur who rose to the top because of talent and business smarts. But as he got closer to the truth, he realized Diddy had another side, an addiction that went way beyond control. It wasn't just partying every now and then. Phil said it was constant, every day, every hour. This is exactly the type of systematic corruption Michael Jackson had been trying to expose. The preparation, the employees who played along, the institutions that looked the other way, it all lined up with what Michael had seen and documented. He didn't just suspect the industry was rotten, he witnessed it firsthand at the highest level. And that's the part that makes Michael so different from everyone else. Dave Chappelle escaped to Africa. Jim Carrey stepped back from the spotlight. Mel Gibson exposed the social contract. But Michael stayed. He didn't run. Instead, he collected evidence, documenting everything for decades. Neverland wasn't just a retreat, it was like his own intelligence operation, a fortress filled with secrets Hollywood never wanted out.
I'm telling you, kids, don't come to Hollywood. I'm serious.
Your camera's there.
Jim, what about for you? I mean, you had it, on such a grand scale. All of a sudden, you were the biggest movie star in the world, and your paychecks and all of it were public. And I imagine getting out of a car, it was being swarmed with
And
people.
90% myth as well. So that's a tough thing to deal with.
What does that feel like?
People
What does it
create your life.
Yeah?
They take elements that are true and they put it in an article so the article looks legit, and yet there's so much of the article that isn't true. So that's something to kind of teach you that, hey, you know what? In order to go forward, I have to let go of what this creation is. And I ultimately found that even the me I created wasn't real, so that left me in an odd, precarious situation.
Every party, every whispered confession, every private moment, Michael was building leverage that could have brought down entire empires, which leaves us with the biggest questions of all. If Michael's evidence still exists, who has it now? And are there other stars out there quietly collecting their own receipts, waiting for the right moment to expose everything Michael passed away trying to reveal? Because one thing's for sure, the truth has a way of surfacing. It might take years, it might take decades, but eventually the machine can't keep it hidden forever. Now, while that was a lot of heavy tea, it only scratches the surface of the secrets Hollywood keeps buried. Michael Jackson's story proves that the most powerful voices are often the ones silenced. But thanks to bold insiders, the truth keeps finding a way out. What do you think? Was Michael prophetic all along? Drop your thoughts below. We'd love to hear them. Hey, and don't forget, hit that like and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you never miss our next big spill.